for you personally, what was the most like amazing yet shocking discovery that you had?
Some of the leading anti-aging products, if they are full of toxic ingredients, and we know that some of them are, damage that they cause in the skin, it's really shocking.
Why do zombie cells cause skin aging?
Essentially, zombie cells are old cells, cells that have divided many times and they have accumulated and eventually they stop dividing. When we get old, our immune system also gets weaker. They don't do this work very well. If we can specifically eliminate the amount of those old cells in the skin, what we see is that the young cells start to produce collagen again, behaves and functions and looks like younger skin.
What do you think the next 5 to 10 years of skincare are going to look like? Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Biohack-it. And we wouldn't talk about biohacking with it, talking about women and skincare and all that good stuff. And today I'm really excited to bring on a founder of a company of a skincare line that I've been personally using and I love for the past, I think it's been 8 to 12 months. And I've seen such an improvement in my skin. So thank you, Carolina, for coming on the episode. Carolina is the CEO and co-founder of OneSkin. So guys, if you've been following me for a while, you know I talk about their product all their time. And I'm excited to get into why their product is so amazing. Who are the amazing women behind this brand? So thank you.
Thank you, Iman, for having me. So excited for this conversation.
I'm excited to chat to you a little bit more as well. So I'm going to do a little bit more of a formal intro because you have such an impressive background and I don't want to miss anything out. So Carolina holds a PhD in stem cell biology and tissue engineering and is a co-inventor of 5 patents and co-author of numerous scientific publications. Like, the background that you come with like founding OneSkin is amazing. And you relocated from Brazil to Silicon Valley in 2016. And that's when you started OneSkin. And it's one of the fastest growing longevity skincare lines out there right now.
Yeah. I can share a little bit more about the story behind the brand. And actually, we didn't start to create a product or a brand. We started as a biotech company. Initially, we're using our expertise to grow human skins in the lab. So based on my PhD, we were using stem cells to build human tissues in the lab. And one of those tissues was skin. And the approach that we thought at the time was to grow these skins and test anti-aging products that were in the market to validate if they could actually change the age of the skin, what we call the skin biological age. We know that we all have our chronological age, but each of our tissues, they have different biological age. That means like how healthy or how unhealthy they are, if they're functioning well. And we can measure the biological age of the skins, and then we can test any product or any ingredient in the market to validate if they can change this age. So if a product is rejuvenating the skin, we should see a reduction in the age of the skin. And unfortunately, what we found is that none of the products that were out there in the market, they were not developed to target the root cause of aging. So they can treat the symptoms of skin aging, that's the fine lines and wrinkles, but they're not treating the cause. So in the end, you don't have like a very effective solution that's gonna promote long-term results because it's mainly a short fix. And that's when we shift our approach of testing new products to actually develop something really disruptive that could target the main drivers of skin aging. And then we started focusing on researching new molecules, more specifically peptides. And that's basically the birth of OneSkin that actually happened, as you said, 8 years ago. So it's been quite a journey.
It has been. Can we, for the women listening to this and, for all of us, let's say we don't have that much information, what is the root cause for skin aging?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, skin aging is caused by 2 main factors. Intrinsic aging, that's basically our internal aging, the cells that are dividing. That's kind of a natural process, but obviously is influenced by your genetics. But one of the main drivers of skin aging is actually extrinsic aging. That's what we are exposed in our daily lives, and it's mainly accountable for UV damage, but also pollution, different types of environmental stressors. So this extrinsic aging accounts for 90% of the visible signs of aging. So we can have a great genetics, but if you have poor habits and if you are exposed to sun all the time, or if you're smoking, and if you have like a bad diet with very, inflammatory food and processed food, this is gonna impact our aging. And then in the end, we have an accumulation of damage that cause inflammation, that cause our cells to stop functioning well, to stop producing collagen. And that's when we start seeing the signs of aging: wrinkles, sagging, pigmentation. But there are ways that we can obviously prevent or counteract those signs of aging, and we can talk more about that. A lot of it is obviously sun prevention or sun protection with good sunscreens. But also there are other ways that we can activate our cells' ability to repair that damage that we have been accumulating over time.
And then this brings me to, what is stem cell biology and how did you get interested in it in such a young age?
Yeah, since a young age, I was really passionate about science because I saw that science had a huge opportunity to help people to live better lives, more in a better quality of life. I was always seeing people around me getting sick and not being able to, live life to the fullest. And when I started studying science, I saw, wow, we have this beautiful machinery that's like our DNA and our cells, and how everything is organized in a way that should function well. But when for some reason things stop functioning well, we develop diseases. So if we understand this in a very detailed way, we can come up with hypotheses on how we can fix this when things are not going well. And the beauty of stem cells is basically because stem cells have this ability of generating different tissues or different cell types. So we all have stem cells in our bodies as an adult, but we usually relate stem cells with embryos, right? Because when you are an embryo, you are a bunch of stem cells, and then you develop all the different tissues of your body. As an adult, so we all have stem cells in most of our tissues. A good source of stem cells is adipose tissue, but also our bone marrow. So these are easy ways that we can extract in adult, and you can use for different types of therapies. And the main property of stem cells is that they are anti-inflammatory and they have this regenerative capacity. They secrete a lot of growth factors that will help our tissues to regenerate. So I love the concept that stem cells can fix a lot of the diseases or tissues dysfunction because it helps with this regenerative capacity. But when we start studying stem cells, developing a cell therapy that we could bring to people was a really long and very challenging process. So we would require a lot of investment. So one way that we could use stem cells to as an interesting tool for research is actually to grow human tissues that we can then test product in those tissues in the lab, and then we can bring these products to consumer. And the skin is a great tissue to replicate in the lab because it's a simpler tissue when you compare to heart and liver and so on. And we can simulate the skin grow in the lab in a very similar way that our skin behaves. So it's a great model to study and develop any product that we want to target, anything related to the skin. And that's why we decided to focus on developing something related to the skin that we can bring to consumers. But also because we understood that when we think about the longevity and our overall health, skin was being overlooked in terms of its importance and how it impacts our health. I think most people look at our skin still from an aesthetics lens. It's just like mostly beauty. But in the end, our skin is an organ, right? And this organ should be protected, and it needs to function well to protect our body. So when we start to connect all the dots, we realized that there was a gap for a product that was focused on improving the health of your skin that would eventually impact the health of our body. So for me, things start to connecting. Okay, I used my stem cell knowledge to build these skin tissues, and now I can test, different products that are targeting aging the skin, but eventually I'm connecting the health of our skin with the health of our body. So that's like my ultimate goal in the end, like really to improve people's health in general, and skin is a big part of it.
So, Carolina, thinking about this, that, skin is your largest organ technically in your body. How did you guys decide on a topical versus an ingestible? Because you're talking about, skin, and we're going to get into this about the whole thing about senescent cells. And for anybody listening, senescent cells are essentially zombie cells, and we'll explain to you guys a little bit more about how damaging they can be for your health overall. But why did you guys decide to go for a topical versus a ingestible?
Yeah, I think if you want to treat the skin in the most effective way, you should apply directly to the site, because anything that you ingest obviously can impact and should impact your skin, but it's not a direct effect, because everything is going to be obviously digested in your stomach and your digestive system, and it will be absorbed, and then some of those ingredients, nutrients, whatever it is, like peptides, they can get to your skin, they'll get to the bloodstream, and eventually they can get to your skin, but it's not a very direct impact. While if I'm applying topically directly on the skin, I know from our studies that this will get absorbed, and we can see direct the impact of that such, ingredient that we want to treat the skin. So for us, we know that there are a lot of companies focusing on developing supplements, to improve your skin and to improve your overall, internal health. And there were no companies that was using like a longevity approach to develop a topical product that would improve the health of your skin. So that's like the gap that we saw, and we knew that was important. Mainly when we think about anti-aging in general, if you think that most products that are focused on anti-aging, they are mainly acids, or the gold standards retinoic acid, and they are basically working from a top down, meaning like they are treating the upper layers of the skin. The skin is basically peeling off. You are growing a newer, a fresher skin, and you are smoothing your fine lines, but you are not addressing what's like driving aging underneath. And that's like the gap that we saw as well. And we also know that many people cannot tolerate like retinol and different acids because they have sensitive skin. And today with, all the toxins and everything that we're putting in our body, sensitive skin is becoming almost like normal, which is crazy. But I think it just reinforces the need for products that are more gentle, that can promote like that rejuvenating effect without causing any harm or, aggravating any kind of irritation that you may already have.
One of the most amazing things about OneSkin is that it kind of like clears out the senescent cells, which are essentially the zombie cells in our bodies that we get all over the place. So, in your words, Carolina, can you explain the process of what are zombie cells, how does it work, and why do zombie cells cause skin aging? Not only skin aging, but they can also cause disease.
Yeah, so essentially zombie cells are old cells, cells that have divided many times and they have accumulated a lot of damage, mutations, and eventually they stop dividing. And this is a natural process in some ways. When we are young, we produce those zombie cells, but what happens is that our immune system clears them up. They shouldn't be there once they're already dysfunctional. When we get old, our immune system also gets weaker, and they don't do this work very well. So these zombie cells start to accumulate. And with their accumulation, it increases the inflammation because the zombie cell secretes inflammatory signals that basically spoils the healthy cells around to become zombie as well. So we like to compare them also with like a rotten apple in a bunch, because one senescent cell can spoil the good apples around, or the good cells around. And essentially that creates a lot more inflammation, and that inflammation is just leading to more collagen breakdown, and it's causing your skin barrier to break, and then leads to several signs of aging. And several studies in many academic researches, they showed that if we can specifically eliminate or decrease the amount of those old cells in the skin, imagine that you remove that bad apple, the good apples, they can replicate, because our cells, they have this ability to replicate unless something is like preventing them from doing so. So if you remove that rotten apple or that old cell, you decrease inflammation that they would be producing, and then you basically unlock that regenerative capacity of your skin that it's inside, but it's being basically impaired by this inflammation. So once we decrease the amount of inflammation and old cells in the skin, what we see is that the young cells start to produce collagen again, so we can bring the skin to a younger state that behaves and functions and looks like younger skin. But it's a process that's very targeted, that happens from the inside out, not necessarily from the top down. And that's why it delivers long-lasting results, because it's really addressing the cause. And one of the main advantages, as I said, is that it does not disturb the healthy cells. So it's not toxic. It does not cause any irritation. So it's a very gentle and a very effective approach in this sense.
And I think it's very important for anybody listening to know, no matter what you do, getting rid of these zombie cells is really important for your overall well-being, your health, your immune system, not only for collagen production, but like the overall health of your when it comes to longevity. And not clearing these cells out creates almost a backlog in our system, and it causes not only inflammation, it can lead to disease and other things. So some natural ways for anybody listening that they want to try this as well. Kind of like OneSkin is amazing because it has this amazing topical treatment. Another thing that they can be doing is water fasting. That's a way to do it. I'm technically not that metabolically flexible, but if you can do water fasting, that's another really great way to really get that IGF release, clear out the senescent cells, and get your body kind of a reset.
Yeah, 100%. And there are other supplements that are right now in the market as well. With supplements is a little harder, but again, I think autophagy and fasting is a great way to also stimulate that senescent cell clearance. And obviously, other habits like, exercising and low levels of stress, that will also help your body to function well. So there are ways that your body, it's basically recovering your body's ability to do its work well. Like our immune system should be able to do that. But the more damage that we accumulate in our bodies, more inflammation, that gets disrupted. So there is a way that we can reverse. We know that our habits, like they can really impact how our body functions. So there are other natural ways that you can definitely help your body to clear these zombie cells, and autophagy or fasting, it's a great one.
Obviously, you all know I'm a biohacking fanatic and I absolutely love peptides. So you can only understand how excited I was when I discovered a skincare brand that works, that uses peptides. That is OneSkin. OneSkin uses the amazing OS1 peptide. OS1 works by actually switching off the senescent cells that drive the aging of your skin. Scientifically proven to give you biologically younger skin with long-lasting improvements in firmness, elasticity, reduction of fine lines and wrinkles, and a more youthful complexion. You can learn more about the OS1 peptide at oneskin.co and use my code Biohack-it for 15% off your purchase. So one of the amazing ingredients, and I'm a very, very big fan of peptides, and I've been taking them for quite some time. So when I discovered OneSkin, I was most excited about a special peptide that you have in all your ingredients, which is the OS1 peptide. And guys, if you do your research, or even if you look up this peptide, it is a leading peptide when it comes to skin rejuvenation, when it comes to the health of your skin. And it really is correlated back to longevity of the skin texture, collagen production. And the fact that this was one of your core ingredients in all your products was really fascinating to me.
Yeah, we actually spent almost 4 years just researching and testing nearly 900 peptides before we found OS1. So OS1 is our proprietary peptide that we discovered when we were looking for peptides that could address or reduce the load of zombie cells in the skin. And what we found that OS1 can reduce up to 40 to 50% the load of those zombie cells. And the other thing that we measure is that it's able to reduce the skin's age in 2.5 years in the lab. So this is the first molecule, or the first peptide that is actually validated to be able to reverse skin's biological age. And this research is published in a very renowned scientific paper. It's available online, but it's really exciting to show that this hypothesis of like targeting senescent cells can actually lead to a biologically younger skin that in the end is a skin that's gonna behave and look like younger skin. But one of the main abilities of this peptide is basically to activate our cells' ability to repair damage more efficiently. So one of the studies that we run in the lab, it's basically exposing the skin to UV damage. And right after we apply the peptide, and the skins that are treated with the peptide, they can repair this damage a lot more efficiently, so they don't accumulate those zombie cells, while the skin that was not treated with the peptide ends up accumulating damage and producing more senescent cells and inflammation. So it's very interesting that we can validate this in the lab, but also now people are seeing improvements that are correlating with these results in terms of obviously improving the texture, the overall skin barrier, and even the function of the skin as a whole.
So one of the things I'm hearing you say a lot with your testing that you guys are doing in the lab, the peptide essentially is really great when a lot of us are getting over and sun is very good for you, and we need our levels of vitamin D, but it's how much sun exposure we're getting and how we're not taking care of the health of the cell. So when it comes to longevity, we need to get our vitamin D. We definitely need sun exposure. Our body's natural circadian rhythm sets itself against that, but it's the way we're doing it so abrasively and so aggressively without protecting our skin as well. So what you're saying is with the OS1 peptide, the amazing thing is over UV exposure, it actually helps your skin repair that. So hyperpigmentation, things like melasma, it helps your body's ability to fight that.
Yeah, it does help, mainly when it's like a immediate exposure, when it's damage that you have been accumulated over time. It can also help. Obviously, the effect is going to be cumulative. So the more that you use the product, the more the peptide will be able to repair that existing damage. But ideally, so for example, if you are on the beach and you applied sunscreen, but for some reason you still got sun damage, if you apply the product like at night, that's going to help repair that damage that was, accumulated. So definitely we recommend, everyone that's either exposed to, sun a lot, but also on a daily basis, like we are indirectly exposed to sun and UV rays in many ways. So it's just, and it's not only UV, it's repairing damage in general. So as we age, we are causing damage because, the replicative process is basically prone to damage. So it's kind of a daily routine that, if we want to counteract like the aging process, we should always be helping ourselves to continue to function well. Otherwise, they will lose that ability.
When you be looking at all the research in the lab and you guys are testing the product, which I think is amazing to be building a brand and be live testing and seeing what's working, tweaking things as you go. for you personally, what was the most like amazing yet shocking discovery that you had, or little trial that you went and you're like wowed by the results?
Yeah, there are a few. I think one of them, it's kind of known, but it was at the same time shocking. So I was using like retinoic acids or retinoic acid for a long time in my life. I had acne growing up, and then eventually I continued to use for its anti-aging effect. So I was always like peeling off, and with redness, and my skin was like sensitive, but I was like, that's okay. I'm getting younger. And then when we start testing retinoic acid in the lab, what we saw is that the levels of inflammation were going high, which is expected, but also genes associated with aging, they were going high.
Oh,
They're going
wow.
up. Yeah. So this to me was like, okay, this is supposed to be an anti-aging ingredient, and these genes are going up. Why am I using this? But I think I don't want to jump into conclusions. What it means that at that acute phase of like retinoic acid, it can cause that inflammation, and the genes can go up, and it can come down as your skin gets adjusted to it. But in my case, that I was always red and always peeling off, I think I was never going over that acute phase. So I think I was just causing more inflammation and exhausting my skin without letting my skin rest and recover. So one of at least the main learnings for me is like, don't overuse like retinoic acid. Uh, leave take time for your skin to recover, and then if you want to cycle every 2 or 3 days, I think it should be okay. Right now I completely don't use anymore. I just found something that works for me, and I don't need it. But I think that was very shocking, but at the same time an important lesson, because if we're overusing, and if we're overstimulating our skins to peel, eventually we can exhaust the stem cells that are present in the skin, that are replacing that skins that we are peeling off. So there needs to be a balance there. The other shocking thing that is kind of expected, but when you see, it's really shocking. Some of the leading anti-aging products that are very known and luxurious, if they are full of like toxic ingredients, and we know that some of them are, the damage that they cause in the skin, it's really shocking. Like when we applied some of those products in the skin starts to degenerate, and the cells start to die. And we were really like surprised that these products are out there, and they are claiming to be anti-aging, and they're actually promoting such a toxic effect in the skin. So I think this just reinforces what we all know, that we should look for, clean is a hard definition, but I would say safe products that have like safe ingredients that have been validated to, at least to be okay for like sensitive skin. Because in the end, you think that you are helping your skin, but you can be causing more damage than good. So
For anybody listening to this, I think having what Caroline is saying, really being safe, testing, understanding the products you're using on your skin, not just going with everything and anything, making sure they're good for you, or as clean as can possibly be, and what are the pros and cons of using that product, evaluating that. With the amazing thing obviously with OneSkin is this whole like OS1 peptide and the senescent cell turnover. But I think also we should never underestimate exercise and nutrition.
yeah.
Nutrition is a really, really big part when it comes to, and your gut health, your microbiome health really plays an essential part in your skin, and what you reflect on the inside is what's reflected on the outside.
100%. And you mentioned microbiome on the skin, which is also very important. And a lot of products can disrupt the skin microbiome. One of the tests that we did with our product, and we partner with this company called Hello Biome. And they basically measure what is the impact of our products in the skin microbiome. And our product is microbiome safe and improves like the balance of like the good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. So that's another very important topic, that if we disrupt our skin microbiome, the chances that our skin will be more prone to rosacea and eczema and all of those more, I don't know, inflammatory diseases or disorders are really significant. So that's something that we should also, pay attention to.
So one of the things, since I've been like really using my OneSkin consistently, since I got really consistent with my OneSkin, I will tell anybody listening. So I'm somebody who doesn't have melasma, but I suffer from a lot of hyperpigmentation. So I get in this area, which is pretty common, a lot of hyperpigmentation. And I've seen when I'm consistent with using my OneSkin serum, and I use sunblock with it, and my hyperpigmentation in the summer has been more manageable rather than getting a lot of the spots out. So it's interesting. It goes back to what you were saying about, hey, if you get a sunspot and you put this on, it kind of treats it more better at that time.
Yeah,
and it kind of like
100%.
really gets into that.
Yeah, and we have some data on our peptide as well that it decreases like the melanin production. We even compared with other products like kojic acid or retinoic acid. So it does helps like controlling melanin production. So with hyperpigmentation mainly caused about, from sun damage, it can help. Melasma is a little more complicated because it's more hormonal. There are several factors that can contribute. But definitely with the sunspots and this uneven tone that we can develop, the product can definitely help.
And there was something you touched on a little bit, but we didn't quite get into, is antibiotics that are prescribed for acne flare-ups. So, I'm not a fan necessarily for antibiotics being prescribed, and I think there's so many different ways to treat it. But did you personally ever witness or encounter anything like this?
No, I have not. And acne, I mean, personally, I have not. I don't remember taking any antibiotics for acne flare-ups. I think, yeah, personally, it's a very aggressive approach because obviously you're basically killing a lot of, good bacteria inside your gut, and that potentially can help your skin. But I don't know if you're
Yeah.
creating a bigger problem. And acne is not one of our main area of studies, and it's kind of really hard to replicate the microbiome in the lab. That's why we even partner with this other company that ran this study. But yeah, I think acne is a very tough one to treat, because a lot of the things that you are doing to treat, you're basically in some way killing the good and the bad bacteria. So you're in the end, like, is a trade-off, right? And I
Yeah.
think there are many companies trying to find better solutions, but I don't think we are there yet. So unfortunately, most of the treatments are still based on tretinoin and Accutane.
Yeah.
And yeah.
For young women listening, I would say, so the functionalities of let's say antibiotics are, an antibiotic, once it goes into your system, unless it's specifically targeted, is like almost like describing like a nuclear bomb that goes off in your microbiome, in your mitochondria, and it eradicates, like Carolina is saying, all the good stuff as well. So I think acne, antibiotics being treated, and some dermatologists recommend them, some have advanced beyond that now. Still recommending antibiotics for acne flare-ups is definitely a no-go, because a lot of times acne is caused by hormonal imbalances in the body. Mitochondrial health, like a dysfunctional in your mitochondrial health, is
Yeah.
causing that. So every time, and I read this data somewhere, but don't exactly quote me on this, I need to read this up again, but your microbiome never goes back to how it was before you ever took an antibiotic. So it never fully ever goes back to that level, is ever the same again. So if you're using antibiotics to treat something like acne, you need to look and I would say find another practitioner and look a little deeper, because it's actually destroying you more on the inside out. And skin is directly correlated with the health of your cells, how you treat them, senescent cells, the way OneSkin is doing, and then treating it from the inside out, really dealing with mitochondrial microbiome health, and then making sure all of that is good, because an alkaline environment is how skin thrives and how you thrive as an organism. So creating that environment to live in is so important.
Yeah, I think that the homeostasis is what helps our skin and our whole body to function well. And microbiome is a huge part of like maintaining that homeostasis, that balance. So, yeah, definitely take care of it.
I was going to also ask you this idea that we see on TikTok and everything. People are obsessed with like skin cycling. So, what is the idea behind like you all of a sudden saw this popular trend came on and then it kind of took off from there and people are like skin cycle this and skin cycle that. So, I personally think it's a little bit overwhelming. I already have so many things to do now. I don't want to add another thing to it. But where did, we've been seeing this trend and like, how is it for me? It's been better to use a lot of your products mixed in with my regular skincare. Obviously, if it's hot or cold outside, I adjust certain things, but this whole skin cycling concept is not something I got behind.
Yeah, and I think it's really dangerous because I mean, some people are recommending like glycolic acid, and then you're recommending retinoic acid or retinol on top. So you need the main thing about cycling. Okay, if I'm gonna use something that's a little bit more aggressive, I needed to allow my skin to recover after that. So if you're exfoliating your skin, the next day hydrate your skin, let the skin to recover. If you're using like retinoic acid or tretinoin, the next day again let your skin to recover. And for our products, because they don't cause any of these any aggressive effect, they can and should be used every day, because they actually help like your skin to come back to that homeostasis state, because it's anti-inflammatory, it's very soothing, it has this ability of helping your skin to repair. So whatever you are doing, if you want to do skin cycling, just have that in mind, that anything that's like more aggressive, you should not have it in 2 days or 3 days in a row. You need to let your skin to recover. And but be very careful with those trends and all the things that are not backed by science. These things comes and goes, and the amount of people that I've seen that have got like skin issues from those trends, it's shocking. And just like consult with your dermatologist, do your own research. Don't jump right into those trends, because some things are really hard to undo, like the damage that I've seen for people like applying castor oil and get a lot of milia. Oh my god, that's like it's really sad. So I think unfortunately we needed to have people that are more responsible sharing content, and that really share content that are validated and extensively tested. Like, needs to be not only scientifically tested but clinically tested. So yeah, don't believe in everything that you see out there.
Online on social media. Carolina, I was going to ask you, you have access to so much data, so much research, you're reading, you're part of a phenomenal group of women. What have you seen that actually works, and what is a complete waste of money, which is a complete fad?
I think, and you're talking about scanning.
From a product standpoint, like what products, like I know people say, oh, like vitamin C is really good or certain things are really good from a product standpoint,
Yeah,
but also from a treatment standpoint.
yeah. I think from a product standpoint, like vitamin C and antioxidants in general are definitely important. I think one of the main challenges with vitamin C and many products out there is that it's a very unstable, molecule. So if you see that it's changing the color, it's getting like more orange, it's already oxidizing. Uh, so you should be careful to see to know if your product if that product has been tested in terms of stability for whatever shelf life we're using such product. I think there are new versions of vitamin C, and there are even other antioxidants nowadays that are more potent. And the main importance of antioxidants is that they'll help like neutralize the free radicals that we are our cells are producing as they get exposed to UV damage, for example, but also pollution, different types of radiation. So they are very important. In our case, just like to simplify our skincare routine, we loaded both like our moisturizers, but also the sunscreen. The sunscreen has the antioxidant capacity similar to other vitamin C out there, vitamin C serums. So for those that want to simplify, you can skip the vitamin C if you're using your sunscreen. But I think, in general, like antioxidants are important. Peptides are important. Not all peptides are created equal. I think there is a lot of buzz around peptides, but you needed to dig in to see if that peptide is able to penetrate the skin, if they have done this test. Because if the molecule has a certain size and it doesn't penetrate the skin, it's not going to do anything, right? So most company won't test for that. They just load the product with peptide, and they assume that it's doing something. And not our peptides are created equal, so you need to know how they work and if there is like legit science behind of that. But I would say that in terms of ingredients, obviously the hyaluronic acid, again, it's another one that's very important. There are different size molecular weights of hyaluronic acid. They're like the high molecular weight that basically creates a barrier on top of your skin and prevents like water loss and retains moisture. There is the low molecular weight that can penetrate in the skin and can help your skin actually to produce more hyaluronic acid. But again, not all hyaluronic acid are pure. So if they are not pure, they can also cause some inflammation. So in the end, I think you really need to look for how legit is that company it's developing the product. But all of those ingredients, they are important. Doesn't mean that having those ingredients in any product will deliver the effect that you want. I think in terms of other procedures, there are things that can help, like microneedling or red light therapy. Again, you need to not overdo, but make sure that you allow your skin, if you're causing some stress, what we call the hormesis, right? A little bit of stress is good, but it allow your skin to recover. I think microneedling is a good one to help, but like with texture, also to help with pigmentation. Um, Obviously, in office, you have a lot of things. I think when I go to my dermatologist nowadays, I look for lasers or treatments that are not very harsh. I think things have evolved in such a way that you don't need to cause so much like damage and inflammation to actually deliver the results. So there are many things that can go deeper into the dermal layer, cause like I would say some effect there, and then your skin will be working from the inside out. That's what I like more nowadays, that those things that will completely, you know, uh, remove the upper layers of your skin. Let me think what else. Yeah, and the other thing that I think is, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I
No,
think
no,
the
go ahead.
last thing that I was going to mention is tools like the gua sha, or that helps you massage and like cause some uh, drainage on your skin. I think this improving the circulation and delivering like the ingredients to your skin is another basic one that's accessible to anyone, and I think it does help a lot.
We wouldn't have a podcast talking about optimizing women's health without talking about Body Bio. I use Body Bio every single day, and their hero product is a necessity for everyone in my house. PC is a pure liposomal phospholipid complex that helps protect the 70 trillion cells in our body from aging, environmental stressors, and toxin exposure. This little guy is great for everyone, you, your husband, your kids, and even your pets. Our health truly starts with our cells, and PC gives them the support and maintenance they need. To learn more about BodyBio, head over to their website, www.bodybio.com, and use the code Biohack-it for 20% off your first order. And if you've already purchased BodyBio and want to rebuy, use Iman at checkout for 15% off all your orders. I'm a really big believer in the lymphatic system and how much of that kind of lives above our neck and how many lymph nodes essentially we have over here. I think lymphatic drainage is such a big part and gets like underlooked a lot of the times because it's easy to do. You can do it at home. It's also actually very cheap if you learn to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great everyday thing to help your skin kind of get hydrated and cycle out the toxins and all of that stuff. And it's just great for your overall health. When it comes, Carolina, to lasers, is there personally any laser treatments that you have tried and you have liked versus not?
Yeah, I don't know the name of them though. I need to ask my dermatologist. But as I was saying, I don't do the ones that, I do the ones that go deep and work, and the ones that are based on ultrasounds. I think when I did this back in Brazil, it's called like ultraformer. So I think in the US is a different name. The other things that I love is the collagen booster. I don't know if you have done that, but basically, the way that it works, they inject like some biomaterials inside your skin, and these biomaterials are degradable, so your skin will absorb. But in this process of absorbing, you are activating your skin to produce more collagen because it's basically fighting again that strange material that you are adding to your skin, and it causes that lifting effect. But again, using your skin's ability to produce collagen is not something that for example, a lot of people do fillers with hyaluronic acid. I don't like that because you are not activating your own skin to produce hyaluronic acid. And then I like the things that use your own biology.
Naturally stimulated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, looking at everything that you're getting exposed to, what do you think the next 5 to 10 years of skincare are going to look like?
Yeah, we are always thinking about that because we want to be the leading company when it comes to developing or to, the most effective products that are available to consumers. And there are so many things going on the research side in terms of not only targeting senescent cells, but like reprogramming your cells to make your cells, behave like younger cells again. There is gene therapy. There is, I would say that the ones that are more advanced right now, it's basically cell reprogramming, which we still don't have a way to deliver into the skin as a cosmetic. I think gene therapy is another very interesting one. I don't think also it can help for skin specific, but maybe, from your body. And even continue to discover like new molecules that can help counteract some of those main markers or drivers of aging. So there is a lot more to come. I think there is a lot of very interesting science. We are understanding more and more like how this processes happens in our body and how we can combat them. But I think, I think in the end we'll have those technologies that will have even a more significant effect in rejuvenating the skin than what we have today. So hopefully we'll get to our 100 years, looking great.
Yeah. No, it's amazing that, now we're at a place that we can look at the skin really through a lens of science rather than just looking at standardized ingredients and what they do overall. Now you're really being able to study, and what you guys are obviously doing already, is study the cell by itself, study the health of the cell and
Mhm.
see with environmental toxins, UV exposure, certain diets, certain lifestyle choices, how those things actually impact the cell and how then the cell impacts your skin and how you look on the outside.
Yeah, 100%. I think this ability of going in such a very specific level of like understanding one cell at a time, and then obviously our tissues are made of like different cell types, but then you can separate them, see how they are behaving, putting them together. So a lot of the techniques nowadays allow us to be very specific and then study and develop things that can target like the cells that we should be targeted, the ones that are causing more damage and dysfunction. So we're going to get more precise. I think, the precision medicine is another area, and having more personalized treatments. Obviously, we still need a lot of data and a lot of testing to make sure that that the precision treatment would work for that specific, I would say, genetic trait. But I
Yeah.
think that's also something that is going to happen.
Precision skincare is becoming, I think you just said it right now. I think the future of skincare is going to be precision skincare, that you can look at a situation, you can look at where the irregularity or the upset in the cells coming from, and you can look how to treat it. So things like melasma, acne, hyperpigmentation will get even more and more and more kind of like people will really be able to hone in on what's the cause and effect and really be able to treat it at the root cause.
Yeah, and connect with like your genetics, connect with where you live, your habits, because in the end, the most complex part is that it's very multifactorial, right? There are many factors that are involved. So you needed to account for everything and understand, okay, where should we intervene first, or maybe in several points at the same time. But I think it's really important to understand how all of these are, play a role to lead to that, outcome.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Carolina, I also wanted to ask you. We have a closing tradition on our podcast that we ask all our guests, and the fact that this one's going to be really interesting because I really think it's phenomenal that OneSkin is a company based and it's all female. It's an all female team. You built it on so much research, and yourself and your other co-founders have like PhDs in just studying the skin barrier, cells. It's just a phenomenal company coming out of, originally Brazilian founders that have made their way into the US and are really leading the charge with doing research on how we age.
Yeah, we are very proud of being a female and scientific led team, and in our team today, I think we also have like we're 70% women or 75%, and I'm very inspired by all of them. They are so strong and smart, and I think we learn and so much with each other, and we help each other in so many ways. And I think we need more cases like this to show that we can do this, we can build great companies. And mainly when we talk about products for women, right? We know it's not only for women, okay, our products is for everyone, but
I was going to
but
ask you, how many men use your products as well?
yeah, we actually have a very good, significant percentage of men using. It's around like 30%.
That's amazing. That's a pretty high statistic.
Yeah, and we see that the ones that are into it because they are also in biohacking, they want to take care of their health, and they know that they need
Yeah.
to take care of their skin as well. And they obviously appreciate the amount of data that we have, behind our products. So obviously our products is for everyone, and the brand was created to basically serve everyone that has a skin that's aging. But I think being developed by a woman, we have like the sensibility that we can talk with women better, we can understand, because women, they have a lot more challenge when it comes to aging. Our skin, it's thinner, and because of the hormonal change and menopause, we are going to show the signs of aging way faster. than men. So in some ways, it does affect us more than them. So I think understanding everything that goes through and creating a product that helps them to be empowered throughout this life and throughout this process, that's beautiful to age, and we should be grateful for it. But at the same time, we want to still keep our, maintain our health and feel good about how we look. And and I think OneSkin, it's able to take in consideration all of that, and being founded by women, and but also, yeah, really designed for everyone.
For everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
This brings me to a closing tradition that I have on the podcast. And so at the end of every episode, I ask all my guests the same question. And it just leads to a really nice end to the conversation. And yeah, so I'm going to ask you as well. So, what is the one lesson or learning to date that has been crucial for your personal evolution and has carried throughout your journey with you? It can be anything.
I think, well, it seems like a cliche one, but when I came here in the US, I I didn't know anyone. I didn't know how to start a company, and I found myself in Silicon Valley and doing this, and it was really challenging. Uh, and so I face, many barriers, and a lot of people, shutting the doors, or saying no to me. But internally, I always believed in myself, because I also had a very clear purpose why I was here and why I was doing this, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else. So I think when you connect with that purpose, and when you believe in yourself, and regardless, like, from where you're coming, and how many amazing and smart people around you, you feel that you are also capable. I think you can accomplish anything. I think you just, like, dedicate your soul and your heart to that mission, and things eventually will start to work out. It doesn't mean that's going to be easy or fast, but I think that's something that I take in today for any setback or any challenge, that they keep coming. But obviously, in the beginning, there were so many, and everything was, newer and harder. But I think this still helps me today, like, to reconnect with my purpose. Everything that every time that I have a challenging situation, I focus on kind of like the big picture, the why behind.
I think this is such an insightful and important takeaway. So if you look at people like yourself and other founders or people we aspire to be like, and you listen to their stories and you hear more about them, purpose is the number one thing that will keep you going day in and day out. And having a purpose that's obviously larger than you on the days, and being an entrepreneur has a lot of highs and lows. Having that clear vision, which is more like the purpose, which is the end goal, why we're here to be in service, is what's going to push you through on days that you don't want to get through it. And I think
Yeah.
it's going to really determine your journey. And purpose can be something super small, it can be something super big, but it's completely personal to an individual. But being clear on your purpose, your why, is so important in life.
100%.
Thank you, Caroline. I really enjoyed getting to know you more. And, I've been using this brand for so long, and just kind of like going over your story and hearing, the background was just so interesting. I think I'd heard another one of your co-founders speak at a conference when I discovered the product, and I loved what she presented, and I just went to the booth and I purchased some of the product myself. So I'm excited to have brought you onto the podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks, Iman, for this great conversation. I'm so happy that you are a fan of, the brand, and has been using the product yourself. So nothing better for us than when people share their own testimonial, because that's what we hope for everyone that will, try OneSkin, that they will have, like, better, healthier skin.
Yeah.
And we are here to continue to, work harder to continue to improve and serve all of our customers better.
Thank you for doing this with me. And hopefully next time I get to see you, we get to do this in person.
Yes, definitely. Thank you again.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye.